Hello, and welcome to the Midwestern Geek and Cali podcast. I'm your host, Dan Stafford, podcasting from 42 Tardis Way in beautiful Temecula, California, which is summer's winter home. On this podcast, we'll talk about science, technology, science fiction, the paranormal, local entrepreneurship, regional entrepreneurship, occasionally politics, poetry, especially sci fi poetry, and all other things geek. So get ready for the deep stuff because we're about to take a dive into the cosmos. And it is a lovely day here in Temecula. It's in the upper 60s and sunny, and that's about all we'll say about the weather here. I have with me today Kip Cothran from KC Photography. And Kip, the first thing I like to do with a new guest on the show is give me your elevator pitch. Your 60 second. I know you're familiar, so roll with it.
I'll let it flow like H2O. Kip Cothran right here from KC Photography. Photographing portraits, events, sports, schools, events, and celebrations of life photography. Keeping it real on the REAL like a dizzy spell. Snap, crackle, and POP. When you want to smile, think of me, KC.
Awesome. See, now this is going to be a good guest, folks. I think you're getting a clue already. We're going to have a good, fun guest on the show today. So I love that. So first off, Kip, are you married?
Today, yes.
Today, yeah. All right. For our readers who are a little slower on the update, our listeners, sorry, listeners, not readers. This is not text. Just a yes, no will do on that one. Yes. Yes. All right. And trying to stay that way, I take it. Okay, there you go. Tell us about your other half a little bit.
Works for AT&T, does what she does. She works full time, and that's pretty much what she does. I don't follow what she does. She's IT stuff, does stuff in IT for AT&T, so it's all confidential. I can't know it.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I worked in the long-distance telecom industry for 21 and a half years before I moved here for a different long-distance carrier. But, yeah, I was a midnights guy in downtown Chicago. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of security involved because of the types of traffic running over the network and such. So I get it, and hopefully the listeners have gotten enough. Okay, kids?
2 of them. Favorite daughter is Michelle. She's 27. My favorite son is 25. And they're both my favorites.
All right. Any fur children?
Any who?
Fur children. Pets.
Oh, heck no.
No.
Just the 2 of the kids. Those are my pets.
Oh, okay. Well, kids are enough, though.
They are definitely.
They are. Okay. What about mom and dad? What were they like?
They're still down in Carlsbad. My dad was in the Marine Corps. My mom worked for the post office. She was the Postmaster General's office manager for a long time, and before Margaret passed away. And in San Diego, Margaret Sellers' office is it's not Poway, Carmel Mountain Road is where they actually built her post office. So my mom's been with the post office for years. She's retired. My dad's retired after 23 years in the Marine Corps. He went into real estate and built his kingdom of helping people purchase homes, and people that couldn't afford their homes back in the 80s, he actually went on their leases with them and helped pay, either buy their properties or go on lien with them, go on loan with them to make their payments for them so they could live until they passed away. So
nice.
He's
very
a good
nice.
Guy. He's a good guy.
All right. Any hobbies other than photography?
I like to travel. I used to bowl a lot, but I don't bowl that much anymore. Just love to travel. Photography goes with travel. So wherever I go, I'm going to take pictures. I try to create something for myself in the fine art photography world. I'm also in image competitions. So I don't post a lot of my images out there for the whole world to see. I'll throw some stuff on Facebook if I'm out there doing stuff, but just like 1 or 2, because I don't want everybody to see. Because when it comes to the image competitions, a lot of the judges are friends of mine on Facebook.
Yeah. So you need to keep it under wraps until it's been through the competition.
Correct. Keep it on the down low.
Right.
Which kind of sucks sometimes, but hey.
Yeah, part of the deal.
It is.
All right. If you were watching movies, TV shows, books, radio shows, magazines, what kind of stuff would be on the menu?
One of the newest shows out is The Good Doctor TV show. I love TV. Going back to Scorpion, Bull, NCIS, all the NCIS except for New Orleans. Criminal Minds, even though the new ones aren't as good as the old ones. But I love movies and just keep life going. MMA, I'm an MMA freak. So mixed martial arts, UFC, love to watch that. Boxing used to be, but not as much anymore. There's still some good guys out there, but the heavyweights, Stavern, MMA. That's entertainment.
You might want to check out some of Elijah Bailey's podcast sometime. The Elijah Bailey Show is the main one, but he's also got like a little bit of anime, and then he's a martial arts teacher, instructor, and he does several different podcasts, and one of them is MMA geared, so you might want to look him up sometime. He's out of Oklahoma. I'm friends with him on Facebook, so peek through my friends list, you'll find him on there. But Elijah Bailey would be a good one for you if you're into MMA. He discusses that stuff a lot.
I'll even take it back a little further. I used to, my mom used to take me to watch professional wrestling back when, like 1974. NWA wrestling up in LA at the Olympic Auditorium. And
we're talking like Baron Von Claw and Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
Oh man, I used to watch all that stuff when I was a kid.
Ernie Ladd, Chavo Guerrero, Pampero Firpo, back in the day.
Yeah. So, when I was a kid, I used to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
We had a Chicago WGN affiliate in Rockford, Illinois, and we would watch that. They had tons of stuff on there, and one of the things that they had on there was wrestling, man. My favorite was always Andre the Giant, but Baron Von Claw was cool.
Baron Von Raschke with Iron Claw, yes.
Yeah.
The Iron Sheik, all those guys.
Yeah.
Good old days. And I'm still a wrestling fan. It's wrestling entertainment now. It's not old school is so cool, but it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so if you could talk to anybody in any time and place, who would it be?
Whoever's in front of me.
Wow.
I don't know.
No historical figure you'd love to quiz sometime?
No. I'm always, everywhere I go, I think people always know who I am and where I come from. But whoever I'm in front of, I just try to either learn something from or teach something to. So I'm easy, like Sunday morning on a Saturday afternoon. I just absorb as much as I can. And like I said, when I get in front of somebody, I'll talk to them and try to figure out what they're about and what can they teach me that they don't know that I'm trying to get something out of them. And then I'll also turn it around and give back to them. Excellent.
All right. So what do you do in general for work? Let's get into the work side of things a little bit.
I'm a professional photographer. I've been self-employed for 34 years, by my business for 34 years, photographing portraits, events, sports, schools, and celebrations of life photography. As far as the sports and schools go, I used to do a lot of action shots for sports, hockey, traveling from California to Arizona, Nevada, and Utah every holiday weekend. With schools, I do choir, chorus, and band pictures, shoot them right on the spot, and then deliver them 2 to 4 weeks later. Packages, 8x10s, 5x7 wallets, buddy shots, plaques. It's just a great memory. What we create in photography is memories.
Right.
And people still want memories. They don't need just that digital file. They want something that can be put on a wall, go back and look at, and appreciate forever. I also, one of my funnest things for me, even though I'm going to say it, I'm going to say the bad thing. It's a dead subject. But Celebrations Life Photography is an incredible, heartfelt item that I create, that I work with. So when somebody passes away, I will go out and photograph the celebration and capture for the widow, photograph the service, and then photograph after the service, family portraits, couple shots, the guests that are there, put together a nice, memorable book that the widow can always go back and look at, and have a couple of books for the children as well. So if anybody ever comes over, and they can always look on the mantle and look at the book, it's not a bad situation that person passed. No, we're not happy the person passed, but that person brought together this 100 or 200 people plus the family. And when was the last time the family had portraits taken? I get it every day. Kid, last time we did a portrait was like 10 years ago, and my youngest wasn't even born. But we've been saying we're going to do it every year. 2 more years from now, they're still not going to have it done. When someone passes, you put that whole all together, and I make it happen.
Yeah, families do tend to come together at those events. And I've met cousins that I'd never met before in my life at events like that. Unfortunate circumstance to have to meet first time that way, but it does tend to bring the family together. especially when it's a grandparent or someone like that.
Sure.
You tend to meet a lot of the more extended family that you didn't really get to hang out with that much. So I totally get what you're saying, and it is a good thing to do.
I have one client who was actually just passed recently, but her husband was in the Air Corps, which is the Air Force before the...
Right, Army Air Corps before the
exactly.
Air Force, right.
So when her husband passed, she didn't remember the day. She was there at the service, did not remember what happened, but then when she got her book, she's like, wow, this is amazing. She cried, which is emotions are always part of photography. You want to capture that tear because that means they care about it. And she ended up in a assisted living home. And what she did at that assisted living home, she slept next to her book every night. Anytime a new guest came into the assisted living home, she introduced them to her husband. There weren't many pictures of him, but there was pictures of her family and the friends and the guests that were at the service. So this is my daughter. This is my daughter. This is my daughter's kids and her husband. This is my son. And she always appreciated it. And like I said, anybody that came in there, she always took that book and she introduced her family to those folks.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So what would be the top 3 things that you would want your clients to do to get ready for a shoot with?
For a session, number 1, just give me a call. Call me up, schedule something, use the telephone. I still answer my telephone 25 hours a day. A lot of people want to text now, which this is the new generation. I get it. And I will deal with the text if I have to. But it's so much easier to have a 10-minute phone call to get through what needs to be done than to go through 2 hours of texting back and forth when you have that extra moment. One of the best things for me, depending on where we're going to photograph, which we can photograph at the beach because we're now from the ocean, or we can photograph in the forest, a forest-looking area, greenery, environmental shoots, or we can set up a studio at your home and photograph at your home. The number 1 thing is color matching, balancing. Solids, not checkers, no lines, no flowers, no floral prints. Try to stay with solid colors. Dark helps you lose weight. Do not wear white. White adds weight. So keep that in mind. Always wear something that's darker unless you're at the beach and you're going to be doing something with earth tones. Your browns and your tans and something like that. You can go light, but the lighter you go, the more weight it adds to you.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to drop the headset.
Okay.
They're useless at this point. So that's why we got this beast.
Sure.
Daddy's going to get back at you.
100% complete.
100% complete, but it won't reboot itself. I'll have to hit the power switch. It's done this a few times before. It's some weird memory error that I have to dig into that. It's one of those deep ones.
Oh, well, cancel Christmas.
Yeah. All right. So we got the part about wearing solid colors, not wearing stripes, florals, all that. And very good advice, I would think. And then let's go. All right. So obviously you're going to do more local clients because just range of travel, unless you are actually traveling and a client books you for a remote one.
Correct. I can do multiple things. So I've actually, as we're both members of Trusted Business Partners, I was hired to go on the Trusted Business Partners cruise as their photographer for a 4-day cruise. Went out and photographed that and then put together an amazing slideshow of what the activities were that they did and the fun that they had on the ship and off the ship. So down in Puerto Vallarta, a couple of the clients, Elman and Emily, in front of the ship, photographs they would not have received from the photographers on the ship were things that I went out and photographed. If I know that I'm headed to Arizona, then I'll call people up, or if somebody knows I'm headed to Arizona, they'll say, Kip, can you photograph our family out here? Or they might call me and say, Kip, can you photograph our family? And I'll say where and when. If they say Arizona, then I put together a schedule of Arizona's 5 hours away. If it's worth the road trip, it's worth the road trip. How many people do you have? You're going to do a family portrait of 20 people? Aunt, grandma, grandpa, your brothers and sisters and their families? Worth the road trip. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 5 hours. Yeah. That's a doable day trip. Yeah. Still a different story if you were going to say like Chicago or New York or Dallas or something like that.
I could jump on a plane there. Would not be printing on location, but I could jump on a plane and they can pay for that. Did a family reunion in New Jersey, 4th of July weekend in New Jersey in the shore. So go out there, photograph it, put it together with me being in Brooklyn, photographing fireworks because I love New York, and I have my favorite spots in New York that I go every time I go out there. And sure, I'll go to New Jersey, but I'm going to be done on the 3rd with you folks, and then I go to the city on the 4th.
Yeah.
And that worked. That worked out fine.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice way to do it. All right. So what would you say is your favorite part of what you do?
Meeting people, creating memories for families and friends, and just the memory. Really, it is. It's all about the memory because everybody takes pictures. Everybody has a camera phone. Everybody's out taking pictures, but what do they do with those pictures? Nothing. They bury them on their computers. They bury them on their phones. They do nothing with them. We create memories. We create plaques. We create composites. We put together 5 images on a 12 by 18 or 16 by 24 picture to tell a story. It's storytelling. So instead of just one 30 by 40 or 40 by 60 of your family, I will do maybe a 40 by 60 composite that has a picture of the family in the middle, and then shots of the kids on the sides, shots of grandma and grandpa on the right, shots of mom and dad on the bottom left, and then shots of whomever else, just the kids on the bottom, whatever else. So it tells a story. It's not just one picture that's great, but it tells a story of the whole family. So it really is always, it's felt, it's real. It's really something real.
Nice. All right. So biggest challenge work-wise?
Getting people to show up on time. People always want to cancel. Oh my God, my hair doesn't look good today. I don't look good. I don't look good. I can make you look better. Don't worry about that. People think they don't look good in front of the camera. Some people don't look good in front of the camera, but I can make them look better. Now, it might cost a little more, but it can be done. So getting people in front of the camera is the hardest thing. They want to do it. They want to do it. They want to do it. But then you have 2 or 3 people that say, I'm too fat. Can't change that. I can. And retouching, I can take off pounds, but you are what you are. You're not going to get smaller unless I help you. Wear something that's dark. Cover your arms. Don't wear a halter top. White reflects, black absorbs. So I can hide people in front of you. It makes half of your body. So posing and lighting is all about the game. Learn how to do it. Become a professional photographer. Create amazing memories. Make people happy.
Awesome. All right. So have you got like a favorite customer story? No names, obviously, but something fun.
I don't know if I should go here or not, but he recently passed away. I have been to the mansion. I did a photo shoot for the mansion, and it was for a brewing company. It wasn't Milwaukee Brewing Company, but we had a corporate event at the mansion and at Hughes Place, and it was amazing. So I think that's probably as far as I'll go with that story. But it was an incredible event. It was an incredible event. And
that mansion.
That mansion.
That mansion.
that mansion. And
yeah, okay.
I won't say anything about
we won't dive any deeper into that one. All right. But it sounds like it could have been fun, but we won't dive any further into that. All right. Funniest thing that's ever happened at work. What comes to mind?
Wow. I don't know. I know.
You are serious about your work, aren't you?
I enjoy what I do. I mean, I'm always out there entertaining and having a good time, but I don't look at myself as funny or something. I've fallen on the ice.
No, that's not funny. I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest. I've done that. Midwestern Geek and Cali, right?
I've broken lenses. I've fallen in hockey rinks, out on the ice photographing puck drills, and broken lenses, broken cameras, and things like that. But it's all insured, so hey, get a new one. Yeah.
No, slapstick's not really usually.
We've had some drama with some hockey leagues from Canada that come down to Arizona, and the kids are high testosterone, and they want to start fighting. And one of the kids hits the glass with his stick and breaks the glass. His dad freaks out and has his sons back and says, "No, we're not paying for that." Well, the game's not going to start till you do, and we got to replace the glass, but the game's not going to start till you do. And so the guy ended up putting the money on his credit card. Whether or not he stopped payment later, I don't know. But there's always drama. There's always something going on to pique your interest and go, "Oh my God, did that really just happen?"
Yeah.
I'm glad I was there to capture it.
Yeah, it makes some interesting photography, I'm sure. All right. So is there anyone in your field that you really look up to and admire, like someone that you would kind of idolize a little bit in the photography world? Anybody like that?
One of my favorite mentors was Monty Zucker. He has passed, but he taught me a bunch in photography. I'll even go back to my dad. My dad didn't teach me photography, but my dad was a photographer in the Marine Corps, and I printed my first picture when I was 8 years old back in Washington, D.C. Used to have to go to the hospital for doctor's appointments when I was 8 years old back in Washington, D.C., and I'd have to go to work with my dad at 7:30 in the morning. My appointment might not be till like 11:30 in the afternoon, but we lived in Maryland. He worked in Washington. He wasn't going to go pick me up. One day, while hanging out at his office, sitting there bored, one of his workers said, I think my dad was a one-officer back then, I believe, Mr. Cothran, do you mind if I take your son into the lab? I had no idea what the lab was. He ends up taking me into the photo lab. I see this metal door. I saw somebody go in it before I did. He walked inside of it and turned it around. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Space Invaders. Well, Space Invaders wasn't out back then, but still that type of thing where it was a big can opener and the guy disappeared on the other side. I go inside from the other side and it's all dark. I can't see anything. My eyes are totally not ready for what I'm looking for. The red lights are on, but they're not registering yet. My pupils need to dilate and see what's going on. He takes me over to this area where I'm printing. He pushes the button, exposes a tank in the sand. And I don't know if it was Washington, D.C. or where that tank was, but he says, take the paper out of the easel. I figure out how to do that, put it up against my chest. He says, walk over to that bath, the first bath, put your paper in face up, use the tongs to push it down and agitate. Within 15 to 20 seconds, magic happened in front of my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I followed his instructions of 2 minutes for the developer, 5 minutes of fix, or 30 seconds fix, and then hypoclear for 5 minutes, and then continued on. That was a picture that I held and kept until at least about 18 years ago. I lost it 18 years ago. So when we moved up here, it did not make it up here.
Unfortunately, moves. I've been through a few moves in my life and lost things along the way and moving, and that's like the worst.
Yeah. And I probably just threw it away. It was in a box that I said, you know what? I haven't touched this box since I've been here for, from 86 to 98. And I'm not even going to look in it. So I just threw stuff away and didn't care. And all of a sudden I'm missing some stuff including some silver. I used to collect silver back in the day, and I had a whole lot more rounds than I have now. So I was like, oh, where'd my silver go?
Yeah, 500 years from now, somebody would be digging in that landfill and like, wow, look at this. All because of you.
Definitely. That's all. That was in San Diego, Mira Mesa.
Right. That's pretty cool. So is there any kind of photography that you like to do for yourself? As a hobby photography, like maybe night shots or...
I love running water. So Tony Corbell is another mentor that's still around. Arthur Rainville is another mentor back in Boston. But Tony was the master of lighting. And he taught me a lot of photography when he was one of my instructors at West Coast School of Photography in San Diego. I was the director of the school for 5 years, and he was one of my instructors several years out of those 5. But whenever Tony and I get together, we always have a great time because, number one, he's a comedian. Number two, he is a real professional photographer. You put him in any scenario, and he will make it happen. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It's not a guess of how do I make this happen. He makes it happen. And when I go out photographing with Tony, I feel like a better photographer because I make stuff happen better when he's around than I do by myself. But I love photographing running water. I use a neutral density filter, and I like the milky flow of water for a 30-second exposure or a 15-second exposure compared to taking a picture with your camera phone and the water wave is at its peak and getting ready to fall over. I like the motion of flat water, and you can see like a fog around it where the water has been and the water moving in and out, whether it's around rocks or whatever. I love running water. I love fine art photography. I love all kinds of landscape photography. And I tend to use a lot of landscape photography in my image competitions because, whether it's Yosemite, Alaska, Iceland, everywhere I go, I can create some amazing images, and I don't need people. I can add people to them. It's a great family portrait if I put somebody in it, but take the person out, and it's a fine art piece.
Yeah. I like to do like sometimes landscapes, but more often like architectural details and things like that that are cool. I used to work for 21 and a half years. I worked in long distance telecom, and Christmas of 97, I transferred from Milwaukee to Chicago, and I started working like exclusively in downtown Chicago, which is very photogenic. And then in 99, I went on like a hybrid second/third shift. Like it was kind of an early third shift. And then in 2001, I went on full on night shift, 11 to 7 basically. And I did a lot of course, camera phone. I didn't have like a badass camera like what you have, but I did a lot of nighttime photography of downtown Chicago, especially like lit up architectural details. I've got a couple of river shots, Chicago river shots at night that I'm pretty proud of. One in particular I'm thinking of. I got a little blog full of that kind of stuff. I'll have to show it to you for a minute after we stop recording and I reboot this naughty PC here that decided to crash in the middle of recording. Yes, we are recording on the Zoom H4n SP field recorder right now because my PC crashed in the middle of the Audacity recording, and this is one reason to have a Zoom, because you can have that set up and you've got a backup audio source for your show so you don't waste your guest's time. So just saying, all you podcasters out there listening, have two sources recording the show at the same time for exactly this kind of reason. This is the first time it's done it to me in the middle of a show, but computers being computers, and most of us record on computers, having a field recorder running in the background is a great idea. Even if you have to go old school and get a portable cassette recorder. I got one sitting right here. I don't have it turned on. But whatever it takes, have multiple sources recording your audio for your show. This is a little podcasting geek going on here talking about this. But yeah, so the blog that I did all my photography of Chicago on is called CHI Nights, Shy Nights, and I'll show you that after the show. But before we wrap up here, I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you in case they want to create some of those memories. So why don't you give them all the details, like web address, Facebook, phone number, whatever you want to give out.
Kip Cothran, right here from and the 951. Area code is 951. Office number 696-9706. Yes, I still have a real landline office number, but it does forward to my mobile phone, which is area code 951-551-8565. Website is www.kcp, initial K, initial C, initial P, dash, photo, PHOTO.com. And you can find me there.
Excellent. All right, and thank you for being on the show, Kip.
No worries,
I really appreciate it. Cool. And we'll stop it there. And thank you, folks, for listening.
This is your host, Dan Stafford, with a Midwestern Geek in Cali podcast. And I'd like to thank you for listening and welcome you to come back anytime you'd like. As always, you can find us at www.singingwire.net and also at Midwest Geek Cali on Twitter. And last but not least, at www.midwesterngeekincali.com.